So good afternoon, everybody, and welcome. This is the Tips for Fundraising events. Hope you've all enjoyed the sessions so far and are learning lots. And please feel free to give us your feedback, because this is the first time that we're doing the workshops. So give us your feedback as to what you think we can improve on and what else you would like to see, because going forward that would be good to know. I'm Lori, from head office. And David, I see you sitting there and I owe you an apology, I'm sorry. Because I didn't return your email.
No, that's okay. No.
It's been a crazy week.
I even said that.
So I hope you got into the sessions you wanted to.
Absolutely.
Okay, good.
Thanks so much.
So I am involved with the events at head office as well as many other things, but if you're doing an event and you get, you fill out an event form, which we'll talk about in a little bit, I'm the one it comes to, and I'm the one that helps get all of the material that you need to promote your event and donation cards for the events. And I'm there, I am an event planner, so I can help you with any questions or concerns or we're stuck here, what do we do? I can definitely help you problem solve and walk through that. So feel free to call me or email me anytime.
And I'm Stephanie, so I run our artist ministry program called the Co-op. I think a lot of you have heard of it. We're working with musical artists, evangelists to go and talk about the Gideons on our behalf when they're doing their ministry across the country. So we just wanted to start off, it's not morning anymore, it's afternoon. This afternoon, just doing a really quick reminder for all of us about why we run events for the Gideons. It's not just about fundraising, it's actually to engage a new audience for our organization, to bring new people into the organization. Of course, to continue the ministry by raising funds, by raising money, and we really want to re-inspire and resource people to share the gospel. I think all of us in this room would agree that's our heart and our goal as a ministry, and so we want to use these events to do that. Just a few little facts that I found really interesting about the events that we ran last year. Last year, the Gideons across the board ran 134 events, and that included golf tournaments, banquets, dessert nights, concerts, and in those 134 events, we raised about $1.1 million, actually over that. So I think it's pretty clear that events are worthwhile for us to pay attention to and for us to start planning. That related to 450,000 scriptures around the world being distributed because of the events that we were running. So I think we're all in agreement that it's important and we pay attention to this.
So as Stephanie said, the different types of events, golf tournaments, right now this year we have 6, I believe, across the country that are going on between now and September. Banquets and dessert nights, and then the co-op concerts. We do know that banquets bring in the most for us, so when you're frustrated with banquets, know that they are very successful across the board. So we want to encourage you to keep doing the banquets and just refresh them. We'll talk about a few ideas of how to refresh that and keep it focused on different things. At head office, they're always working at keeping things fresh, keeping things new. Coming up to the fall, we have the beginning of fall events going on. Materials are always being produced. So the spring materials that were created, it was gospel on the ground. They're carrying it forward into the fall. So right now, everything is available. All of the first thing there is the donation brochure that's already ready. And the great thing about the donation brochure for this season that we tried in the spring is that it covers all of the areas that we're in. So it talks about all of the areas that we're in, and then it gives the donors a chance to choose where they would like their funds to go. Now, I think a lot of people just enjoy having the choice, because a lot of the donation cards that came back as send it wherever needed. So, but it's nice for them to have the choice, and it gives you the opportunity to touch on, these are the areas that we're in. There's a bulletin that shows them across the world where those locations are. It'll be bigger than that. This is just a little one. But it shows them, so it's very interactive between the donation brochure and the bulletin. So it's really, really important. What we're trying to do is create these things so that everybody uses them and they're used across the board, very consistent. And as far as the network, is everybody on the network, understand the network? Mostly. So the event coordinator is given an image to put on the network that matches that. They can advertise in their area on the network, hey, the banquet's coming up. So it's just good to keep it consistent. Then when people see it, they know what they're expecting and they know what they're looking for. There's also lots of, we've created videos for this season, and we can show the promo video. So if your church is open to it, you could totally ask the church.
We have carried this mission out through you.
In the last 10 years, we've seen so much change in technology, and we're riding that wave.
We are looking just to see lives restored, lives transformed.
It's a really exciting new part of the Indians because we can share God's word.
We're on our way to an amazing camp today. It's incredible and love to the kids that are going to be there.
Yes, we do the internet platforms.
Distributing God's word to people who are seeking truth is unlike anything I've ever been a part of.
Around the world, people are longing for the hope and purpose that only the gospel can bring. But how can they believe in him if they have never heard about him? And how can they hear about him unless someone tells them? The Gideons are responding to this challenge and bringing the word of God to them. Gospel on the Ground is a cross-Canada celebration of the work that God is doing in our world and through the Gideons International Canada. Come hear stories of incredible change and the impact that are happening in Northern Canada, India, Nicaragua, Ukraine, China, and Malawi. Be a part of the amazing work God is doing and will continue to do through the power of his word and those who share it. Join us in bringing the hope of the gospel to those in need today.
So this is a new video.
Yes, it's a new video. It was created in the spring. So there's about 5 videos that were created. So this is the promo one. There is another video that you can have as people are, like the beginning before your MC gets up, that just kind of explains more about Gospel on the Ground. And then there's a promo video that can just loop while people are eating. And then if your MC is not confident or comfortable with doing the appeal, there is an appeal video as well that has Peter doing it. So all of these are available for you to use, which will be, they're great resources, and it's just a wonderful way to, they're professionally done. It shows a lot of where we are, and it's just a great way to promote it. Yeah,
Will they be available for downloading or ordering?
downloading. Now, if you are eating things, if the Wi-Fi or you can't download it, because it's a very large file, I would have to send it to you through Dropbox and that kind of, so you need to download Dropbox, which is free and easy to do. But if you are needing burned copies, I can get them. It just takes a little bit longer. So you need a little bit of time.
Go ahead, Steve.
Lori, I think that, the Global Church Partner one is amazing.
Yeah.
But sometimes you don't have 4 minutes and 38 seconds.
Yeah.
This is great for a church service.
Yeah, it's only a minute long. It's great. Yeah.
Are any of these new videos been translated yet?
There's been a few translated.
They're the ones yet?
Yeah, so they should all be on, there's a YouTube page that you can use as well with all the videos. If you go to YouTube and just search Gideons Canada, all of the videos will come up. But again, if you're planning any kind of event, the best thing to do is email Lori, and she can just direct you exactly where you need to get all of these tools.
Or
and even
get them for you.
Suggest the ones that would work well for your events. We've tried to create things that can, under the same brand and same kind of appeal, go across the board for any event as well to help support those things.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Mark?
Yeah.
Does the bulletin cover and the donation brochure, they look identical still? They did in the spring.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the cover of them,
Like this one?
yes, and the bulletin, and then
Well, there is a bulletin that can look like that, if you would prefer that. Or there was a secondary one done that coincided, that shows where people, where we are, yeah.
the bulletin cover that looks the same as the donation brochure,
Yeah.
is what we used in the spring.
Okay,
It was confusing to the guests. They didn't realize the donation brochure was on their table
yes,
because
yes.
it looked identical to the bulletin.
Yeah, it was the first one that was designed,
Yeah.
and then I suggested having something like, we have placemats as well, because people often will ask for placemats. So we have placemats that look exactly like the new
And you know, we
bulletin.
could have worked around that if we realized it was going to be a problem.
Yeah,
You just
yeah.
needed to direct people to the other thing earlier.
Yes, yeah,
We didn't.
yeah. So now they do look different.
That's right.
And I'm using those ones over the other ones. So if you want the other ones, you have to specify. So, yeah, sorry, Dave.
I'm assuming chapters can have as many events within a year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Figure
they
it out.
can,
Yeah.
yeah.
We don't want to mention it.
Yes,
You
no,
go for it.
no limit, yeah.
Well, the limit is actually imposed by soliciting the same people.
Yes, that's
Yes,
right.
yes.
That's the limit.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Which is why some chapters choose to do a spring or a fall event,
Okay.
one or the other. Sometimes they'll do a spring bigger one and a fall smaller one, kind of to, yeah. So as far as keeping it simple, aesthetically, when you are choosing your venue, you want to choose something that is warm and inviting and not the basement of a church. Some churches have great basements, but others don't. And you want people to feel welcomed, and you want people to feel that they need to know where they're going. So if you're needing signage, even if you have a venue that it takes a little bit to get there, ask us. We can provide signage that matches, so when they get their invite in the mail, they'll see the graphic. We can do things that everything matches and kind of keeps people together. So you just have to really, the sky's the limit. Ask us, we can pretty much do anything. We don't want to limit you, we want to make it as easy as possible for you to host these events, because it can be a lot of work. And going on that, if you're looking for a venue but you don't have the manpower per se, there's been chapters who have hosted in restaurants. You call up the restaurant and you say, hey, can you accommodate 50 people? We're going to do an event and I just need a place. We're going to sell tickets. They'll often give you a deal, and then you don't have to worry about prepping or cleanup. It's great.
And people like coming.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
people enjoy it.
Yeah. Next one.
The last thing with this is, we kind of, when we were talking about this, we're just, how do we help simplify the events? Because for all of us, hosting any kind of event is a platform for us to declare what we do as a ministry. And sometimes the tension that you feel when you're organizing is, this is my time to tell you all the great things that we're doing. But from a donor or potential partner perspective, that can be overwhelming. And so we kind of just said, keep the message simple, keep the events about the vision of the Gideons, and bring along tools that help support that. So if you have someone coming to speak on India, have just the the Light magazines available so that it all coincides together. And don't use the event to necessarily tell everything that we're doing across the world, because we are doing a lot of great work. It's amazing. But for a person just coming in, if you're telling them about 10 different regions and then 20 different products that we have, it can very quickly be like, I'm overwhelmed by how much is going on. So keep it simple, keep the message clear, it's the vision of the Gideons, and then just proclaim that at your events.
And keeping it simple as far as the decor on the tables.
Yeah.
Don't have a stack of Bibles in the middle of the table. Just have it simple. A little mason jar with flowers, a light magazine. If you're choosing to do, say, India, have an India light magazine that people can take home, and a donation brochure on top of it. Just keep it very, very simple, and then people are not overwhelmed. Great.
Yeah. Just a few things to consider. We talked a little bit about this with venues. So of course we all know that we're wanting to engage a newer audience as well with the Gideons. Costs demographically. And so sometimes that means that we have to look at things a little bit differently. So if you run a banquet for the same year, we actually, like we said, banquets do wonderful. But it can take a bit of time to just, hey, what can we do new and different where we can engage people that want to come? A suggestion that we would have for this is, a lot of us have younger people in our world, engage them into the process. Ask the people that you would want to come to your event, hey, we're holding an event, like what would be something that you would be interested in coming? I asked some of our team around the office, like, what's something that you would want to go to? And a lot of the girls were like, if there was something in a cafe with like desserts and coffees and maybe an artist playing and someone sharing, it's a really neutral environment that we feel comfortable in. As a millennial, so I do like banquets, but sometimes they can be a bit intimidating when you're a bit young. You're like, I don't know, like what do I wear? And so something more neutral like a cafe, a restaurant helps that. Not always, it's also knowing your community as well.
Golf courses are pretty good too.
Yes, yeah, golf.
They're great, they're usually a great location, they know how to hand you between the golf seasons.
Yeah, exactly, and they're so helpful.
And the golf tournaments, listen, it's a lot of work, but when Carl gave me the numbers, it is actually the golf tournaments that raise the most amount of money, but they take the most work, probably. Is that fair to say, Steve?
That's a great ROI.
Yeah, exactly. So what we were thinking here is the message always stays the same. Our message never changes, but sometimes it's just the method that needs to change and be updated a little bit.
Engaging the local church. So a lot of our churches, well not a lot, we do have quite a few on GCP, so those ones are engaged already with us and have understood the vision of partnership with us. What we're talking about here is potentially chatting with your church to see if they would host an artist. So just a question to throw out, is there, if you haven't approached your church, is there a reason why? Is there something holding you back? Is there tools that we can provide to you that you could take to your church to say, hey, let's have an artist in for the Gideons on a Sunday morning when your pastor's away.
Or when he's there.
Or there. He doesn't have to be away.
Is it hard to approach the churches, or like we're, yeah. No, go ahead. No, you have something to say.
I will just do it's a larger church, and things are very programmed and very specific on a Sunday morning. There are no bulletin inserts, there's no real announcement. There's a few announcements, but very few, and it's very difficult to, you have to go to the court, there's so many levels, and it seems very daunting. And it is very difficult to even have a 1 minute video. I don't even know that would be allowed.
Stephanie, can you describe sort of what a Sunday
What looks like?
service would look
Absolutely.
like?
Yeah, I would love to do that. So we work with a variety of artists. There's 10 to 12 on the roster right now. That's worship leaders. I think a lot of you would know Trevor, who does he's a rock violinist, and it's incredible. Evangelists that will go and speak on our behalf. And so the program itself varies depending on the artist. Let's take a couple who does worship, Jason and Charmaine. They would come into the church and lead worship in the morning. And in their leading worship, they just actually integrate a gospel message into what they're already doing. And they would be given 5 to 6 minutes to make a short appeal after that. So they take that time. For them, they've gone to China, and they've been up north, and so they shared their experience sharing the gospel, and then make an appeal for the Gideons at that point. Our goal as the co-op is, yes, to raise money. We want to do that. But more importantly, we actually want to inspire the members of the church to go out and share the gospel. And all of the artists have that hope and that heart. And so they integrate that into what they're doing. And it's very less like, you know how sometimes you can be somewhere and there's like a really strong appeal and you're like, okay, you want my money? It's not like that at all. Actually, it's like, hey guys, if we believe in who Jesus is and we believe he transforms communities, let's get out there and do it. And they really inspire and encourage the churches. And so that's part of how we sell that to churches as well. Is we just say, listen, we actually just want to come as a gift to your church and encourage your members to share the gospel and resource them. All of our artists will come with magazines or Gospels of John that we're willing to give away to the members just so that they're equipped as well to go out and share their faith. And we found that when that happens, it's pretty easy for the churches to get on board once they've kind of seen, oh, okay, you're not just coming in and asking for my money. Actually, you want to leave something with the church as well and re-inspire members. So it gets a bit easier. One of the suggestions that came out at our last session on that note, when it's a big church, is to actually start with the small groups. Often, like, you'll have connect groups or women's groups, and you can go in and share there. Sometimes, honestly, having a smaller group and just being really passionate about what you do, you'll find that 8 out of the 8 people there are on your team rather than 5% of the 100 people that are there. And so in a setting like that, I would actually just start with the small groups or start with the women's ministry and go from there. Because it can be daunting getting into the big churches.
Okay, under what circumstances will head office actually pay for the artists? Because there must be a minimum number of persons in the congregation to actually justify that we pay for an artist. Could you address that, please?
Yeah, so typically head office will pay for a Sunday morning service. Now, let's say we've got someone like Trevor in Ontario who we want to do something with him in BC. What we would try and do is build a weekend. So you'd have a Sunday morning in a church, a Saturday night concert that Gideon members would put on, probably in a church venue, but it would be promoted in the community, and even possibly a Sunday night concert. Head office will pay for all of that because of the Sunday morning and making it a weekend. Where it gets a bit tricky is if it's dessert nights or banquets and they're coming in more as the, I don't want to say entertainment, that's not the right word, but essentially entertainment, that's when it's up to the chapters. Does that make sense? Yeah.
Just with Trevor Dick in Edmonton, he had a relationship which started about 4 years ago with a pastor at Millwoods Pentecostal Church. He made the connection, and he's coming out. So since that, I know last year there was one person came on $600 a month.
Yeah. It was not. I think that church there was 45 monthly partners that signed up in that one service. Amazing. So I should also say these artists are also booking themselves into churches and doing appeals on our behalf that we are not necessarily arranging. They arrange it. What we will do is I tell all the RFs whenever there's a concert coming up, and they should be letting you know as area directors and members that there's somebody coming to do an appeal as well.
Back to the Sunday service with Jason.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
For example, how long a worship segment are we talking about? You then said like 5 or 6 minutes in addition, and then the pastor does a message as well?
Yes, or in their case, Jason actually is an incredible preacher, so that we leave up to the church because we can't necessarily hijack their full service, but if they're willing to give it to us, we absolutely will. We did an event in Calgary with Ryan Dirks' new group, the Sheer Poets, and the Sunday service, they led worship. He talked a little bit about how he had seen some of our tools, and then Casey Bjorndal actually preached the service, and we saw 22 sponsorships come out of that Sunday. So the thing with churches is you have to learn how to be adaptable. You kind of can't have a this program fits all because they won't let you. So it's learning how to, you know what, we can do this. Trevor's the same, like he can just lead worship or he takes the whole service. It's up to what the church is willing to do. Yeah.
When you say in office will pay for this, what are you talking about will pay for? The artists coming, these expenses?
Yes. And travel expenses and honorariums for the artists. So in those cases, we cover, those costs.
But how many people, what's the minimum number of people that you will actually decide to fund an artist?
We've never...
I heard the figure of 150 costs to run.
That's news to me, but ideally it would be a medium-sized church, 100 to 150, but you know what? We've seen 8 sponsorships come out of a church of 40, and so for us, it's about dialoguing as well. Like, is this worth it? Because you honestly, from my perspective, you never know who's sitting in an audience. You really don't. We do look at, we try to be strategic about it as well. Like, it would be hard to fly someone from Ontario to let's say Kelowna for a 20-person church. Like that can be hard to justify cost-wise. So we just try to be a bit more strategic about it. But that's all conversation. You can touch base with me and we work that out.
Now, currently, there are not artists in each province, but there are
Yeah.
different, how many artists?
I think there's 10 on the roster full-time, but some of those are...
That includes the ones in Quebec, because there are at least 2 in Quebec.
Yeah, there's 2 in Quebec.
Okay.
And they're fabulous. I think we have a
Well,
top artist.
one will be here tomorrow, like that.
Yeah, Stefan will be here, yeah. Tomorrow.
Is there a list?
Yeah, it's all found online. I know it's always online, but we do have, we can print them off for you as well, yeah.
Where is it available online?
It's under, if you just go to gideons.ca/the-co-op, and then there you'll find them all there.
Oh.
Yeah. And we're updating their profiles as well.
And
Yes.
in the artist training program, how do you train the artists or bring them into your program so that what they talk about?
What they're doing. Yeah, so what we're doing now, all the artists apply, and I go through the applications and we sit as a team and talk about it. To be fair, do a bit of research on who they are so we know that their vision and ours align. And then we have a training video just on how to craft an appeal, how to integrate your story into it. We provide them with video content as well that they can share during their appeal. And then a lot of it is just conversationally with me, because the reality of it is you can't, again, they have to bring themselves to the stage. That's that you integrate the gospel message into what they do. And so we just help guide that along in the process as well when they come on. But we do have a lot of tools available for them. Also, we have FAQs on the programs that they're promoting and FAQs on the Gideons. Like we ensure that they know who we are and what we do. Most of the artists that we work with have come in a really organic way to the Gideons. They were either at an event or have heard of us through their peers and approached me, hey, we're hearing these great things, and that's when we start the dialogue. So most of them have already been introduced to the ministry in a very organic way as well.
Yeah. You mentioned something about chalk.
There's a chalk artist, yes.
Yeah, because that's popular down in Pennsylvania, they did that.
Yeah, so it's, I mean, again, all kinds of talent comes in, like it's incredible. He just preaches and chalks, and then this beautiful art comes out. It's amazing. So it can be really cool for a church as well, because it's different. It's different for a Sunday.
So are they located in different regions of the country? Like?
Some of them are, the majority of them would be in the Ontario region. There's a few in Quebec. We do have a band out in Alberta, and one girl out in BC as well. So they're kind of scattered, but the majority would be in Ontario. And that's typical for even Christian music in Canada as well. A lot of them are situated.
So we're from Newfoundland.
Yeah.
What restrictions do you have on local artists? Can we use our own local people instead of having to pay to bring people in, stuff like that?
Yeah, we are absolutely open. I think we did an event with Glenn Tedford out there, a few events, absolutely open to that. We just ask that we be informed and let known of that, and then we dialogue about what that looks like. That also helps us provide the tools that they will need to make an appeal as well. Yeah. And the last one on this, we just said if you're ever stuck for new ideas, we've got a few that we'd love to kind of share with you. One of the things that has been working well in a little bit is online fundraising. All of you know Casey, he just did on the network. So I don't know if I'm assuming you know this, on the network you can actually fundraise online. It gives you a platform to do that. He recently raised just under $10,000 doing the appeal for Fort McMurray when all the fires were happening. And what makes this particular thing easy is if you pick a specific focus, whether it be China or India, it has to be fairly specific. It's really just sharing it with your network of friends, either through email, on social media, in person, and just directing them to the site. It works really well. In that particular case, he actually had someone matching the donations, which is a good idea as well. If you know someone who would get kind of enticed by that, it can be a good incentive as well. Go ahead.
Something you mentioned fundraising on Shareware. I've been looking at it, and there's seems to be fundraising for traveling expenses.
Right.
How did that come about? Like, that's something that, as a Gideon, I'm not familiar with raising money for me to go somewhere. I'm just familiar with raising money to pay for the scripture.
Right.
So how does that correlate or work into that program of providing scripture?
Yeah. Do you know the answer to that?
We members
Yeah,
pay
that
the
would be hard,
expenses.
so-
We members pay the expenses.
Right.
And the donations go totally to the work of the Gideons because we just had fundraising.
Oh, but there's some people do raise money to help pay for
Online.
their trip.
For the trip, pay their expenses?
But that's not all that this is meant for
No.
necessarily.
No.
This is meant for a wide variety of things. That would probably be a question best for the development team, who it would be them that.
In all of our church services, we always promote that 100% of the money raised goes towards the purchase of Bibles. We've always done that.
Right.
I understand that now that we're into a situation where we've got to relax a little bit on that, because some of it's going towards administration at head office and so on, and so I'm trying to come up with something that when we approach the churches and when we do our talks in our churches, and that we're accurate and we're factual,
Right.
and that nobody can pick up on anything that we've said and say, look, that's not really happening.
Right.
So I'd like to clarify that.
Actually, Steve could really speak into
When it's
that.
designated, that's where it goes.
Yeah. And we're really strict on that, so.
Yeah.
Any other ideas? We'd love to hear some ideas from you about different things. I thought you were gonna say something. No? Okay.
Yeah, if I think of one, I'll definitely.
Another idea is like, often if you're having kind of a bigger birthday coming up, say it's your 60th birthday, it can be a great way to use that celebration as a, hey, come like to my party, we just want to celebrate. In lieu of gifts, we actually just ask that you give a gift to the organization. It's a really easy way of engaging people as well, and it can be surprisingly successful. It's
Home
actually
office
amazing.
taking the cake.
Well, yeah. Steve told me he'd pay for the cake, so it's totally good. Don't worry.
We only limit it to 3 layers.
Yeah, exactly.
The birthday thing as well have worked really well for us.
What was
We've done a number of them.
Okay.
And you don't invite your Gideon friends.
Yeah.
Okay, stay away from that. You invite your own family and your friends that you're dining out. They usually make it like they did one for me when I hit 60. Okay.
Yeah.
And I didn't, kind of surprised. And with the venue they held, it was kind of a neutral venue, and they had all my friends, all my church friends, and people outside show up. And on the tables were the donation envelopes. And we were very fortunate at that time to have somebody that could speak as well. And it went over really well, and I think something like $2,500. And it was 60 people. So, these things work.
Yeah.
And sometimes the small little things, when you put them all together, they add up to more than what you really expect them to.
That's true.
$5,000 came in for my husband's service and we went down.
Wow. That's beautiful.
And the key there was Gideons were at the church, they were at the visitation, they were at the meal, and they, because a lot of funeral homes use our racks to put other envelopes up. So that was key, having a really good Gideon at each spot. Yeah, $5,000.
Wow,
We were so grateful.
Very cool.
Yeah. My new wife and I gave people the opportunity to give to the Gideons at our wedding, as opposed to gifts.
Yeah, it's so brilliant. Yeah. Like you said, sometimes those little things can really add up, and they actually, and because people love you as members, they actually just want to support what it is that you love and learn more and get involved. Because they know, love, and trust you as well.
My wife and her friends did a fast-a-thon. Okay? Just a 24-hour fast-a-thon. There were 6 of them, $1,500.
Amazing.
Right?
Very cool.
So different little things like that.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah.
What age does the demographic change if we're sort of inform them more about SEND programs
Yeah.
to the Gideons?
The Send Me demographic would be youth and young adults, probably I would say 25 and under. And then anything above that would be more the Gideons. A lot, even with the musicians, some of our musicians will do Send Me promotions as well and invite youth to give, young adults to give, which they do.
So it's youth and young adults?
Yeah. And I think it's also knowing your audience. Like there's some audiences where if you told them about Send Me, and even if they were older, they would be like, this is amazing, we need to invest into this. So I think whenever you're settling on an event, it's kind of like, who is my audience right now? And just help focus the event towards that. Yeah. Anything else? The last thing that we just wanted to touch on is just make it really easy for people to get involved. Sometimes it can be a bit difficult. So like Laura was saying, having the giving brochures right there on the table, it's so easy for them. They just sign up, give it away. I think, again, a focused appeal that's strong, vision-oriented always helps. I'm a strong believer that vision leads, and so when you cast strong vision, it's just easy for people to get on board. They see what's happening.
Having great impact stories, so great testimonies. We have, I'll go there. We have a Gideon's, no, I think it's still there. Yep. YouTube. If you go to YouTube and then search Gideons in Canada, plethora of videos that you can use, testimony videos. Some of them are professionally done, some of them are raw on Peter's cell phone in India. So it's got a lot of stuff there that you can use. If you are going to be doing an event that may not be in a Wi-Fi area that you can't access, just let me know and I can get one burned for you and sent out so you can just play it on your computer or on wherever you're going to play it, download it.
Or even personal testimonies of people in your community. Story always helps get people engaged, because honestly, I think for all of us, what people want to see is what you're saying you're doing is actually happening. They want to know that what you're saying is happening. And when people hear and see that, it's so easy for them to get involved. I think as believers, all of us want to be involved in sharing the gospel in some way or another. It's our job is to invite people in on that journey and give them a story to help do that. And then the last thing we just want to say and encourage you with is don't be scared to be bold. Listen, we're all Canadians, and sometimes as Canadians we're a bit like, hi, I really just want to be polite and ask you for money. No way, man. Like, this is God's kingdom, and it's such a great thing to ask people to get involved in. And to be bold and courageous about that is, honestly, people can't say no, because they just see your passion and they see that God's changing and transforming communities, and it's like, okay, this is a no-brainer for me. Let's get involved, either becoming a member, giving financially. Honestly, I think it is ingrained in all of us, a spirit of generosity, and sometimes it just takes friends to help unlock that. And I think that's who we are. We help unlock that spirit of generosity. So don't be scared to be bold, be courageous, and just invite people into the journey with us.
Last year at the banquet, I'm not going to tell you where, but this individual, their first time at a banquet and new countries, they ticked off every box. $100,000, first time to a Gideon event.
I love it. I love it. I think it's, and we've ended here the last, I think it's important for us to always remember that, you know what, when Jesus is in the center of things, miracles like that happen, and they come from the most unsuspecting places. And so just when you center yourself back into that place, God provides every time. And I think I'm a firm believer that God doesn't just provide, He likes to shock you a little bit sometimes and just throw a bit of a blessing on you where you're like, okay, great, thanks. So it's also just inviting Him into that process. Yeah.
So one last quick comment. I think we had some event a few months ago, and I was doing the emceeing of it, right? And I really found that a lot of the congregations, when they really started, everyone was open from the beginning, but when they really started getting up and wanting to get involved, was when they realized how easy it was for them to get involved.
Yeah.
So a lot of them, they're just unaware. They think they might have to come 4 nights a week to meetings, things like this. But to be involved and have their own personal outreach ministry with the resources, or involved just by giving, they're happy to do it.
Yeah, it's easy for people to get involved. Yeah. or questions? Ideas? Yeah?
With a concert, what is the best way to promote it?
If it's a Sunday morning, the church pretty much promotes it,
Yes.
but the before, like an evening concert, I would promote it in the local churches around as well. We provide posters to put up with your friends, with their friends, social media. I'm a firm believer that the local church, once it gets behind something, it promotes it well. So I would definitely, let's say in a community, go to 6 or 7 churches and say, hey, are you willing to promote this concert on our behalf on this night? If it means inviting the pastor to come along, I think that's a great thing to do as well. A lot of things now online, there's community event pages that you can go and add an event onto, that you can pay for radio spot, it depends. I mean, you'd have to look into that, if it's effective. I always think it comes down to efficiency, but a lot of it is also just word of mouth.
Our
from
camp
your
also
members.
downloaded the posters and the little invitations.
Yeah, yeah. And then it's like giving them out to people that you meet. Local I go into Starbucks and there's always posters on there. And I find myself reading them actually quite often, so yeah.
For donors, so that head office could send out invitations by email.
Well, actually, we've never thought of that.
But we
could.
Yeah.
We just have to be very careful with emails because of the privacy, and so people have to have allowed us to be able. They have to be on our email list. So as far as mailing though for the donors, it goes back 18 months. So when I pull a list for your event, it is the last 18 months, so like a year and a half. And anybody who's given more than twice will be on that list. Because then it just kind of, you're getting the select people, not the ones who've only given once who are just joining, you don't want to overwhelm, but you're getting the ones who have bought into the vision.
What do you think that the social network, social media work, and another question is, it's very important the testimony that you have a follow-up of how the testimony videos, like the YouTube works, they work with. Do you know that?
Yeah, I would say we've got a few videos that work very well, which Rory will talk about. There's the one that we showed you, there's a longer version that's done very well from what I know. There's a few upcoming story ones that I think will be really impactful, so that works either in event form or in social media. On the social media side, it's
Facebook.
Yeah, Facebook, yeah, absolutely. It's in terms of promoting an event, it's up to the members who are using it that way, how much they're promoting it. It's funny, social media is a funny thing. What time of day you post about an event, it actually gets more traction in the afternoon, evening. Yeah, exactly. And so that's up to the members. I mean, social media is, for my generation, how we find out about everything. That's pretty much all I use. So yeah, I think it just depends on the members, but I would encourage you just to post quite a bit about it.
The question on emails, we did for like golf tournaments, we send out, once we have the date, save the date, because we have an email, and we get those emails from the people that come to the tournament, and then we send out another email the last about 6 weeks before.
You'll be able to correct me if I'm wrong. If you're looking for like a template for you to send to your friends as you, not necessarily the official Gideons. I think that's what you're talking about. We can definitely help provide you with even like a banner that you can write an email to your friends.
In other words, we should be able to ask, encourage people to give us their emails at an event.
Yes.
Maintain communication, not only from headquarters, but particularly from our local ministry.
Yes. So what she's saying is we as an organization can't send that, but if you want to invite your friend to an event, you absolutely can do that.
You could probably do a draw for a gift and everybody will put their name on a piece of paper.
Yeah.
But to the rules of security in regard to who we send their emails to them apply, if they put their emails on our donation page?
If they put their email on the donation card, that gives us at the head office permission to email them.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's the anti-spam.
And have them sign?
Yeah, you could, and then they're basically, if they give you their email, that is their permission to you that you can use it. Yeah.
Any other questions? Sorry? Oh, okay. We've run out of time actually. Well, we want to thank you so much. Listen, again, both Lori and I are here to help you with anything. Any questions and any ideas you want to run past us, we're really willing to help. Definitely.
I don't know if you have some, but maybe it's helpful for the chapter, like to have an example of the program, like for a banquet or a coffee dessert, like how long it should be, and like the program artist.
Yeah. We've talked, we will be developing that actually, because that's been, a lot of people have been asking. So we'd like to kind of put together kits that will help you as well. And I know there is an event checklist that is sort of the broad 6 months before, 5 months before, it gives you, we do have that. So we'd like to consolidate it a little bit.
Yeah.
So you have a card, I don't know the last name.
Ellis, Lori Ellis.
Oh.
I was supposed to have business
Thanks
cards.
everybody, thank you so much.